Someone like me, statistically, I'm a Nigerian girl, moved to the UK. Half these things are not meant to happen to me or for me. I've been very blessed. Every day I'm just like, seriously, like what's going on? Even I'm still I'm in a constant feeling of just gratitude and awe, and the very least I can do is to try to make as many people as possible feel this wonderful feeling I'm feeling.
Hello and welcome to the Women of the Future podcast, a podcast made in collaboration with the Women of the Future programme, a platform built to unlock a culture of kindness and collaboration among leaders, as well as support and celebrate the successes of women. I'm Kim Rowell and I won the media category at their awards in 2018 in recognition of my continued work as a commissioner, producer and children's author, particularly within the mental health remit. I'll be talking to my guests on this podcast about their careers, who or what gave them their first big break, their successes, failures and inspirations along the way, and how they came to be a part of the Women of the Future network. Dunola Oladapo has been described as a young woman with a bold vision. Passionate about representing diversity as well as youth social action, alongside her full-time role in finance and international advocacy, she is the founder of Luton Lights, an initiative designed to motivate and inspire girls in the town in which she grew up. Determined to transform any negative rhetoric associated with the area by creating opportunities in Luton for girls aged 11 and above, Luton Lights provides free and representative career mentorships, workshops and courses that acknowledge and develop the potential of young women. With no external funding, Dunola moved back to her family home in 2017 so that she could save money to run the project. Yet Dunola's social action is not limited to the Luton area. She is a Girls 20 Global Ambassador, a member of the Commonwealth Youth Peace Ambassadors Network, and she sits on the #IWillFund Leadership Board. At the Girls 20 Summit in 2017, Dunola worked with young female ambassadors from all over the world to build a policy document on migration, climate change and digitalisation, holding the G20 world leaders accountable to their 2014 pledge to create 100 million new jobs for women by 2025. I met up for a coffee with this quite remarkable woman.
Basically, I'm born in Nigeria and my family moved to the UK when I was 11, so we moved to Luton, and that's where I grew up. Went to high school and did my education up until uni in the area. So yeah, that's one of the key reasons why I feel, because I still live in Luton right now, and that's one of the key reasons why I made an organisation called Luton Lights, because I wanted to have a positive impact on the young women who are in my local community in Luton.
So tell me more about your family. Is it a big family? Do you have brothers and sisters? And also, how did you come to, because that's a big move, isn't it? Coming from Nigeria to the UK, what instigated that move?
Yeah, so my family moved to the UK for economic opportunity. My mum wanted us to have a better education and they wanted us to just have a better life. And that's just the key reason why we moved. And, my family, the four of us, I'm the eldest of the children. So yes, I've got a sister who's studying chemical engineering in Sheffield. I've got another sister who's doing her GCSEs, and I've got a baby, my brother, who's just finished his year 6 SATs. So it's quite a big age range, and I'm 24. I'm working at Goldman at the moment, so we've got a big age sort of gap between us all, and we're a family of 6. But our extended family is huge. So my mum's got about 10 siblings and they all have kids now, and so we've got so many. I don't even know how many cousins I have, and let's not even get started on my dad's side of the family. So it's just a very big family, and it's always nice, Christmas and birthdays, it's always nice to be around people, and that sense of community.
Were they all in Luton? Is that why you moved there, or what was the reason to kind of settle in Luton?
No, so actually most of my family are in Nigeria. I do have some family in London, but we didn't have any other family in Luton. I'm actually not too sure why exactly we ended up in Luton, but I think at the time by the time we moved to the UK, my mum knew somebody in Luton, and that was where we kind of stayed the first time to sort of get our feet on the ground until we started to explore the area, and then we got into a school in Luton. Then we eventually looked into our own place to live in Luton. So yeah.
And you already, we've spoken before, and you learned English a little bit when you were in Nigeria. Did you speak it fluently? And
I grew up speaking English. Nigeria is an Anglophone country, so completely was speaking English. Like we all spoke English before we came to the UK, but obviously the differences in accents and things like that. But me and my siblings were still in junior school at that point, so we were feeling a bit, self-conscious about accents and things like that. But no, immediately I came. I think I was in year 6 at that point, because my reading was so good. I think I was like on the top set of the reading, but I was just so shy because I was born with a stutter, and at that age my stutter was still very bad. Actually, it was bad up until sixth form, and it was an inheritary one because my dad also has a stutter, so I would have to sort of stomp to get words out. So I found it, because I love to talk, I found it difficult. It was difficult to express myself, and it was always embarrassing in school when you're like, stuttering. Yeah. But I always put myself up with things like debates in society and things like that. So it was almost like asking for it in a way.
Did that help you overcome it, or did you actually have proper treatment as well?
I had to have speech therapy, because when I got to sixth form, I put myself up to be house captain. I got interviewed and I got it, and they were like, "You do know you're gonna have to do 20-minute long assemblies every 2 weeks." And I said, yeah. And my teachers at the point, they're like, we know you're confident, we know you're fine. By the way, I wasn't confident, but I guess that's just how it came across. But then we just want to suggest you, because students can be mean, and they were, and I think for my own interest as well, they said, what, we don't mind if you just start to actually reach out for professional help at this point. And then that's when I did some speech therapy and learned different techniques. So the fact that I'm able to do this podcast right now and speak right now without stuttering, I still have fits occasionally, but it's already a massive step for me anyway.
Do you think that was part of the reasoning why you put yourself forward for these things, was to push yourself? Is that something that's inherent in you, to kind of challenge yourself?
Maybe, because looking back at everything now, in retrospect, I think I just love to speak. I like to express myself, and it was embarrassing, people laughing at you, and knowing that you're trying to get something out. It's frustrating trying to get words out and not being able to. But I think my desire to express myself and to try to be heard was greater than the embarrassment I felt from people's opinions. And even sometimes, you even get family members and things, like people close to you will be like, oh, Dunola, because I really wanted to talk all the time from a young age, but the stutter was bad. I was very bad at that point.
So you already alluded to it. You set up a fantastic organisation called Luton Lights, but also you were quite determined to get rid of any negative rhetoric around Luton in particular, weren't you? And was Luton Lights, obviously that's your way of doing that, isn't it? But tell us more about it and what it is and what you do as part of it, because it's quite incredible. You can't downplay that.
So, growing up in Luton, that's all we knew, besides Lagos and Luton. I hadn't lived in any other cities really, so I didn't really, I thought this was what the UK was. But really, when I went to university, I went to Bury Holloway University in Egham. I experienced a different life there, and I got to explore a different part of the UK, and I started to realise, okay, everywhere in the UK is not idiosyncratic, opportunities are not the same everywhere, socioeconomics are not exactly the same all over the UK. Okay, and then I graduated, started working in London. I saw a different life, very different to my life in Luton, very different to my life in Egham. And then when I started to get international opportunities, so for example, in 2017, I was selected to be UK ambassador for this amazing NGO called Girls 20. So basically just focusing on economic empowerment of women and girls across the world. Getting to travel and see different ways of life. Then I started to research a bit more, and then started to look at league tables of schools and see, okay, so some schools in Luton are very much towards the bottom of the league tables. Socioeconomics are not quite the same in Luton as we might expect. And then I started to see some polls online where Luton was being voted as worst place to live in the UK and things like that. And then it dawned on me that actually, the young people, especially specifically the girls in Luton, do they have the same opportunities as their counterparts in other parts of the country? There's obviously a massive gap here. And we need to take action, because at the end of the day, looking back at my life in Luton, what do I wish I had growing up in Luton? What would have made my ride to where I am now, a bit smoother? And I think it's incumbent on me to try to do something about that.
So what did you do? Tell us what you did.
So I created Luton Lights, and really about a year and a bit old, so we've not been around.
How did you start? Did you literally just say to your mum or your friends or whoever, I've got this great idea?
So I had the idea, I made the plans and everything, but if I was waiting for the right time to start this organisation, I'm telling you, by now we would still not have started. Because I just knew I wanted to create opportunities, I wanted to do workshops, I wanted to do school assemblies, I wanted to do trips, but I've been able to do these things now, but at the time, where to begin and who's even going to want to do this? I was trying to reach out to my own high school that I went to. I couldn't even get through to anyone, trying to reach out to teachers. Do you remember me? It gets to a point in time where it's just like something, I just have to do something, because if I'm waiting for the perfect time, it's not going to happen.
So how did you get through to them? Yeah,
so basically what I did was, I just put a date and just said, you know what, we're going to have a Luton Lights launch on this date. I booked the community centre, Dally Road Community Centre, and I remember it was in March, and I just started, I made a poster, I started sharing it online and just saying, and at this point I didn't say this is an event, I want you to come. My objective for that particular event as the launch was, I want women in Luton to come and tell me what they want. Because I don't want to stay here and impose my view of, okay, this is what of course this is what I wish I had and all these things, but I just want to be one of the voices, because it's meant to be for the people, and I want it to be, what do they want to happen in our town, in our city. So that's what I did, and I just spread it far and wide. Of course, I called my aunties, my cousins, my sister's friends. You have to start from those who they'll definitely support you. And I just said, you know what, just come, just please come, invite your friends, and try to reach out to my own networks at the same time, share on social media and try to get new people to come in. And that day was awesome. I remember so much because this is in March, but it was Luton was filled with snow, and people were saying, "Oh, change the day," and in the morning. But I just kept thinking, so many people. I've shared leaflets and stuff. What if people turn up? Still, we have to still do it. We'll have more events, but let me just see who turns up. So at this point, I'm thinking no one's gonna come because the weather was so bad. Even for us to get to Dally Road that day was difficult, and then I started getting all the texts in the morning. Sorry, I wish I could make it, but the weather, I can't make it. I'm so sorry. So my heart was already just like. But then the room in the community centre was actually ended up being full.
Amazing.
There were people who actually didn't know who did come, and it was though I introduced myself and everything, and the little team of volunteers I had at the time. But people started to give their opinions. What do we need in Luton? And we had a real amazing time there, and I really felt like it was the start of something great. So that's my memory of it.
But it's not a charity, is it? You actually you moved home so you could fund this yourself.
Basically, I moved to Luton. So it was quite strategic because, of course, when I'm going, because I have been doing the school assemblies and things, when I go there, I think there's something powerful about saying, you know what, I'm from Luton and I'm still here, and this is what I've been able to do with my opportunities.
On your wavelength,
honestly, and anything you want to do, we're both in this city, let's help each other grow. So I really wanted to speak from that authentic point of view, as well as moving back home actually was very good for me as well. To actually live with my mom, to move back home to live with my mom, because with all these things I do, I also do some work as a UK coordinator of the Commonwealth Youth Peace Ambassadors Network. I'm on the leadership board of the UK WOF Fund. I've got my full-time job at Goldman Sachs in finance. I do quite a few things, and sometimes you just really need that grounding at home when you come home. Just so I've really valued, even for my own mental health and everything, being back home with my mom. But yes, I do fund Luton Lights because we're not a charity, we're just a project, and sometimes the costs add up, even every year having to pay for the maintenance of our website, refreshments at the community centre, booking the space, transport for people, the costs do add up. But I have to say, I always say this, even if it's just for that one girl who just by something we post online or back coming to our workshop just says, you know what, I wasn't thinking about STEM before, or politics or any male-dominated field, but now I am. Even if it's just for that, everything will be worth it, 100%.
And it's not just that either. You've taken them to the Facebook headquarters, you've taken them to Parliament, you've really broadened their horizons, haven't you?
I feel like, honestly, there's something about being able to be somewhere and envision it. I can tell you, do you know what? If you were at the top of the London Eye, you can see a lot of things and you could be like, whoa, that's really cool. But then when you're on top of that London Eye and you can see these things for yourself, it's different. It's not the same. So I can, we do tell them, in the workshops, like, of course you can do this, you can do that, you can do this, that's great. But I think there's something about taking them on these trips. As you said, we've gone to Parliament, we've gone to Facebook, and meeting women who they can look up to, who have made that journey, who are in leadership positions, and they're able to speak to these women, they're able to ask them questions. I think there's something about that that's just, you can just feel it, that it just has such a great impact.
A tangible excitement.
Exactly.
I mean, again, you've already kind of alluded to this, but you not just, obviously, Luton Lights, that's part of it. There's so much more to what you do. You do Girls 20, Global, you're ambassador for them. And then the I Will Fund Leadership Board. You do so much, don't you? And also, like you say, you have a 9 to 5. You work at Goldman Sachs in finance.
9 to 5 on a good day. The hours can be a bit longer than that sometimes.
But you're also just about to go to China.
I am.
For a year.
I'm so excited. So, yes, I've been selected to be part of the 2020 cohort of the Schwartzman Scholarship in Beijing in China. I've never been to this part of the world before. I am just so excited to... Because what I love about this program is more than just a master's degree, and it's a very generous scholarship, but it also includes some practical leadership training. So I feel like by the time I come back, I would have just developed so much as a leader, as a person, and I would have just had a lot more experiences, and I think it would really help me to apply myself better to the different projects that I will be doing at the time.
That sounds fantastic. And as far as a career is concerned, obviously yours is very, very varied. But who or what would you say gave you your first career break? Was it a situation, or was it a person? Or
honestly, I will always shout out Royal Holloway, University of London, for giving me my first break, because I did not get my predicted grades. On results day, I was just in bits, in tears. Like, I was calling up different unis trying to get in, because my grades were just so far away from my predicted grades, and I didn't see it coming. I just remember that day just being so painful. I'll never ever forget. It was even my brother's birthday, and we were meant to go to Legoland, and I was like, I'm not going to Legoland, okay? Like, I'm not going.
Legoland for you means a lot more than just
everyone had to go to Legoland, and I was just at home trying to sort out my university. Where am I going to go? Am I going to just do year 13 again? But
so they accepted you?
Yes, just when I was about to give up, I just get the email, and they were my insurance to begin with, but I was just in a bit of a limbo state before they finally said, you know what, you didn't get the grades, but you can come. And at that moment, I just made the choice in my heart, like, you know what, when I go to this uni, I'm gonna try really, really hard. And when I got to uni, I got involved, not just because of that, because I wanted to as well. I got involved in so many things. I was economics ambassador, student ambassador, treasurer of Investment and Trading Society, SU officer. I was president of the African Caribbean Society, Black and Ethnic Minority Officer. I was doing a lot of things, and I still managed to get first class. So I'm like, I don't know how. I think I just had the full university experience.
Yeah. So that failure gave you the kick up the bum that just accelerated you off on this trajectory into the stratosphere, essentially.
And it even changed my view on what failure even is, because I was rejected, quote unquote, from my first choice uni, and understandably so. I didn't get the grades, cool, but actually one closed door is another open door. So, and if I didn't even get to this university, or even if that didn't happen, I just believe that there's always a way. Of course, I understand that for some people that way is a lot more uphill than others, and it's incumbent upon people who now have the opportunity or have been able to experience certain things to try to make the ride easier for other people.
So how did you first hear about Women of the Future, and how did you get involved? Did someone nominated you, didn't they? Or pointed you in the right direction?
Yes, pointed me. So basically, last year, one of my mentors, her name's Vivian Onano, I basically imposed my menteeship upon her. I found her on Instagram.
Did you stalk her, Dunola?
Unashamedly so, I did that. And, I emailed her and I told her I just loved her and I wanted her to mentor me. And, to cut the long story short, yes, she did. And she basically just sent me a link and said, Dunola, you should apply for this. So I looked at it and I just thought, oh my goodness, I'm not even gonna, like, no one's, who's gonna actually even accept me? Like, why would I apply for this? I'm obviously not gonna get it. But, just out of like my excitement and just humility that someone would even think I had a shot, I thought, you know what, I'll do this for Viv, I'll do this for Vivian.
She's not just someone though, she works for the UN, doesn't she?
She is, and she's an amazing advocate for women and girls across the world. She advocates for the education of girls, and that's one of the reasons why I was so attracted to her career. But basically, yeah, I did, and then when I got shortlisted, it was just surprise after surprise, and I'll never ever forget sitting on that table on the awards day next to my mum, and her eyes were just, when my name was called, she was frozen on the spot, and I was like, Mum, record this, like, so she could record my speech. And when I came back I was like, Mum, where's the video, where's the picture? And she was just like
spellbound,
she didn't record anything, there was no picture. And I was like, oh my goodness, Mum.
I'm sure because I was sitting on the table just along from you, and I'm sure she shrieked, didn't she?
She did, and then I think that sort of just set her off, because when you won your award, she was like screaming as well, and I think she was just extremely excited that night for so many reasons.
She popped her cork by that point, and it was like, I love everybody.
Yes. So yeah, but she was really excited, and she still brings it up. She was like, I was sitting shoulder to shoulder with so many wonderful people. I'm like, oh my gosh, Mum.
Bless her.
She always brings it up. It was like, one of her highlights ever.
Okay, I have some quick fire questions.
Cool.
What would you describe as your greatest success?
Greatest success. Oh, I don't know, but I would say on the International Day of the Girl last year, on the coach going to Parliament on Facebook, we had about 50 girls going, and I could hear the girls chatting at the back of the coach saying, oh, what do they even do at Facebook? Do we even have a female Prime Minister? Oh, do we? And this kind of questions. And then on the coach back, hearing them saying stuff like, I'm going to work at Facebook one day, or I want to run for office, I want to be MP of Luton. And I'm like, yes!
Yeah.
It was just that, like, and no one said you should do this. They just experienced it. They actually had the opportunity to see what it was like, and they got to make their own decision. And I just thought, you know what?
That's the whole reason.
This is number one, everything of this is what dreams are made of. This is what life is all about.
And your greatest failure?
Greatest failure, I don't like to think about things like that. 'Cause as I said, every door closed is another door open. I would say, looking back at my life, what I would have thought was my greatest failure was just, failing, or not failing, but not getting good GCSEs or even A-levels. But honestly, everything's happened they were supposed to, and I'm just glad with where I am at the moment.
Yeah, I think I've heard you speak before, and you said there's not, success and failure, there's success and fear.
Yeah. Honestly, I really believe this. Everyone says, the opposite of success is failure, but I really believe the opposite of success is fear. Because if you don't do something, nothing happens. If you're too afraid to try something, nothing happens. The last thing I would want is for me to be at a certain position and just think, I should have done this, but I was too nervous. No way. Feel the fear and do it anyway.
I think also I heard Nicola Mendelsohn speak at one of the Women of the Future events, a lady from Facebook, and she said that women in meetings should speak up.
Absolutely.
Like, don't be afraid to sound stupid.
Yeah,
just have your say.
I think almost every woman I've spoken to will tell me, like, they always feel the imposter syndrome, where, they feel like, oh my gosh, why am I here? What am I doing here? Oh, no, and it's such a relatable feeling, because I'm sure everyone's been in that position at some point, but it's important that we speak up, even if not for ourselves, but for those coming after us.
Yeah, exactly. And the mantra of Women of the Future is kindness and collaboration.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you?
Honestly, it just means community. It's about passing on the baton. It's about appreciating the opportunities that we receive, but then having this feeling and this sort of excitement to create opportunities for others. It's about appreciating what you have, but always thinking about what you can do for other people. Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Has it changed your life?
Honestly, yeah. And like someone like me, statistically, I'm a Nigerian girl, moved to the UK, so British Nigerian. Statistically, half these things are not meant to happen to me or for me. I've been very blessed. Every day I'm just like, seriously, like, what's going on? Even I'm still I'm in a constant feeling of just gratitude and awe, and the very least I can do is to basically try to make as many people as possible feel this wonderful feeling I'm feeling.
You say you're blessed, but you work remarkably hard, don't you? I mean, do you get sleep? Do you get to sleep? I mean, how do you balance it all out? Because obviously you were talking earlier about your own mental health. How do you look after yourself and make sure that those moments of self-care, really?
Yeah, I think, there's always room for improvement in everything. There's always room for improvement. And in life, you have the highs and you have the highs, okay? The highs and the other highs. But it's just one of those things where, all in all, I'm grateful. My faith keeps me grounded. I go to church every Sunday. I'm quite involved in church as well. And actually, something fun I do at church, I coach the teenage girls choir. And and things like that just brings a smile to my face. And I think people are built differently. I think I'm built for the life I'm living, and I feel fulfilled. I feel happy.
So you can sing as well.
I don't know if I can sing, but I encourage those that can to definitely
express
sing.
themselves.
To express themselves, exactly. Actually, fun fact, when I couldn't speak properly, one of the key tricks in speech therapy for stammerers is to sing, because no one can stutter while they sing. So they're like, maybe if you talk in a sing-song voice, and I had to do that for a while to actually be able to now get words out properly.
That's so interesting, because over here, I don't know if you watched Pop Idol. Did you watch that? With Gareth Gates was on it, and he.
Oh yes, yes, I remember. Yeah,
and because his audition was famous because he walked in, and he couldn't say who he was, and then
but
he had
when
the
you sing,
voice of an angel when he opened his mouth. So that's really interesting. Didn't know that.
It is.
So we've already spoken about fear or touched on it. Is there anything else, or anything? There wasn't really anything that scared you, but is there anything that scared you?
Oh my gosh, everything can be scary. I try not to be scared of things, but I mean, I still walk into meetings and I'm just overwhelmed, like, oh my gosh, who am I? Like, what am I doing here? What do I have to offer? That happens a lot. Sometimes when we have events, only 2 people turn up, and sometimes it's great, we have 50 people. So there's always that nervousness, like, is anyone going to show up? I'm trying to do all of these things, but is anyone actually really engaging with it? Yeah. Is it actually making the impact I want it to make? Is it just what I think would be great, or is it actually what the young women need? So I'm in a constant, and it's not a fear, it's just like constant checking myself, and then of course getting to meet amazing people, and I just freeze on the inside. I'm just like, oh my goodness.
Pinch yourself.
Yeah, and all of these are opportunities to just crawl back into like my comfort zone whole, but also it's an opportunity to just blossom. So hopefully we'll be blossoming more than I'm crawling away.
And is there anything left on your to-do list?
Oh my gosh, everything is on the table.
You're so young as well. You're 23?
I'm 24 now.
24. So, that's old then. 24, forget
it. No, everything is on the table. I mean, what have I even done? Honestly,
what haven't you done? It might be easier to list that out.
No, there's so many things I haven't done. There's so many things. There's so much room for improvement. There's so many more things to learn. And I really hope my master's will be a step in that right direction, to really give me that grounding in international development, to explore new cultures. Oh gosh, there's just so much to do, and that's exciting. It's exciting. I'm so glad I have the opportunity to be able to explore these things.
And it covers leadership. We need a prime minister.
Oh gosh.
Is that the kind of thing though, or is that a million miles away?
I don't even know, because I'm interested in politics and international development, but yeah, I'm more interested in the international development aspect of things. So I think like my dream job would be maybe working in the World Bank or the International Monetary Fund, where I'm an economist, I study economics, where I can apply those sort of economic principles, but then to ultimately make sure that people have a fairer ride in life. So to elevate poverty and to work to make sure that there's less of a gap between the rich and the poor across the world. I think that's something that would be really cool job to have at some point in the future. But I mean, in the interim, I'm open. I'm just excited to learn and just to try to make a positive impact as best as I can.
You are amazing, Dunola. I feel like I fangirled you the whole way through this podcast. So thank you so much.
I'm fangirling you.
Thank you so much for your time. You are a wonderful person.
You are a wonderful person.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Women of the Future podcast. If you enjoyed it, please hit the subscribe button. And while you're there, why not give us a rating and review? You know you want to. For more about the Women of the Future Awards, network and initiative, please visit www.womenofthefuture.co.uk. See you soon.